Yeah.
Up the road.
Yeah.
Coloured geezer in a Pakistani jacket. Up the road there. Smashed the door in there. He's got a gun in his pocket.
Right. Can you wait there for us?
149, go ahead.
Yeah. Information from a taxi driver outside the newsagents where the alarm is. There's a Pakistani man. He's gone east up St James's Street. He's possibly in possession of a firearm. Over.
95 from the
So where's the firearm now?
On our channel, go.
Oh right, he's taking it with him.
He fire it.
Right. Okay. They saw him load it.
Yeah, over there.
Right. Bravo 1, for your information with regards to this firearm, our witness has seen it being loaded and possible 1 round discharged, over.
Andy Duke is a member of A section at Brighton Police Station, one of 4 frontline teams of patrol officers responding to emergency calls in the town.
Going onto the seafront now. Onto Marine Parade now. Tango Bravo 6, which end are you over? Marine Parade, Rock Place?
Brighton's policemen and women confront an incident involving firearms on average once every week.
Now, confirmed, pointed out by the witness, checking in possession of... We've got the firearm. You have the firearm. Whereabouts, over? It's on the stairs, opposite Rock Place.
Right, and I'm showing you so much like a gun. I brought it back today when I went to see my mum today because I had to go to court. Brought it back today and I was taking it to my mate's house. I've gone round, I found my house and his house, it weren't in.
And you had a push and shove outside the shop, didn't you? Because the window got smashed.
Basically, yeah.
Right, well, to begin with, you're going to be under arrest on suspicion of criminal damage. All right, you don't have to say anything unless you wish to do so. What you say may be given an evidence. All right.
Just a plastic toy gun. It sort of fires some little sort of plastic ball bearings and everything. It was in his pocket. Quite realistic.
Charlie Bravo 1.
Certainly wouldn't like anybody pointing it at me anyway.
So no history on it? Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. But you're going to have to go back to the nick first. All right, and we'll sort it out back there. Do go with this, gent.
This is a situation we're finding ourselves in now, more often. Thankfully, it seems to be sort of 99% of the time it's imitation firearms. So whatever would happen, we'd be okay.
But you always worry about that 1%. You always worry about that 1%. And the probability stacks up against you. The more you deal with that imitation, the more likely it is the next one is going to be a real one. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to cope with that. I would suggest that if somebody pulls a gun out that you believe that's a real gun, take it from there. I would always back off. Always back off if somebody threatened me with what looked like a gun.
We had 2 in 2 nights, the last set of nights. Halfway through the night we'd have an incident with a gun and we're thinking, right, the third night this is going to be a real one. But you think, we've gone through another invitation, the next time it's going to be a real one. A taxi driver approached us and said that 2 black males and a white male had been fighting in the street, which had resulted in them falling against a smoke mark, newsagents, smashing the front door glass panel, and also that what they believe was a firearm had been drawn. And we found this gentleman and the man next door, who were identified to us by the witness in the back of the car as being responsible for and involved with the fight and for the firearm. Stop checked. This was found in possession of the black man. This is the other man who was with him. They've both been arrested on suspicion of criminal damage at this stage.
Telling you now that I'm authorising your detention here as necessary to obtain evidence by questioning.
At his trial 3 weeks later, a man was given 100 hours community service for criminal damage and public order offences.
All right.
We have instances in this town, certainly weekly, of firearms being used in connection with crime of some sort or another. And we have a sophisticated response to that, which doesn't involve the use of officers actually out there all the time walking around armed. Providing we can maintain a professional and adequate response to the criminal use of firearms, then I think we can resist the need to arm officers.
Bravo 1, Andy and Jeff, Jenny and Pat Sweeney on 2, Mick and Annie Wilkinson on 3, Tony Deacon and Dave Selby on 4, Dave Tall and Paul Steele on 5.
What about the job down at Marine Drive, the man with the gun? I think at the end of that it's actually quite well handled. I think when you go to any job like that, to be very wary that you're not bulletproof. But at the end of the day, what do you do?
A man went to a door at 2A Preston Circus, which I believe is Tastables, the grocery store. He had a gun apparently. He called his husband, saw the man shut the door and then ran after him. Ready to go up Elder Place towards the railway station. If you could start at the railway station and work down, over.
Yeah, Roger, Queen's Road at the moment.
Did he come in any further than this when you went to get the money?
No, I had the money in my back pocket. I just kept poking the gun in my face.
Right.
Pushing the gun in front of my face.
Was he wearing gloves?
The gunman has held up the owner of this greengrocer shop and escaped on foot from the rear of the first floor flat.
Yeah, Charlie Bravo 1, yes.
His description is broadcast and patrol cars search the streets.
Can you describe what the gun looks like?
Just a black short revolver.
Yeah. Like, did it have a barrel on it, or was it like a semi-automatic type thing?
We don't go out looking to raise the stakes. But where you're talking about the use of firearms by criminals, there's very little to do as far as the police are concerned about preventing it. We've made the comments about the ease with which guns can be obtained, and therefore, in a sense, we have to simply respond to it.
Charlie Bravo 180. Bravo 180, go ahead.
180, I've just walked up Dixon Road and there's no sign of him up there.
Tango Bravo 6.
I've been up New England Hill, around the back of the station, also up Trafalgar Road that goes up in front of the station, and that is where we're sitting at the moment. No trace over.
Yes, Roger. Thank you, Tango Bravo 6.
And I opened the door just a little bit. I don't know, they say you don't do these things, but you do. And he just snatched away from me. And he just screamed at me, give me the money, give me the money. And he poked the gun straight in my nose. So I've got today's takings in one pocket and some other money in another pocket. So I just gave him one lot. He said, I want your jewellery. And then he grabbed hold of my hand and snatched the gold chain off my wrist.
Right, which wrist was the chain on?
Chain was on that.
On your right wrist.
Spoken to a gentleman in Elder Place.
How long did it last for, Tim? In your mind?
2 or 3 minutes, I suppose. It just happened so quick.
Yeah, okay. Just take a swig of your coffee, mate, and relax yourself down. Okay, let's go back again, thinking about him and his description. How tall is he?
I've never seen anybody that shocked before. I've never seen anyone be affected by things so badly. I think it was just seeing the gun in his face. I mean, that's all he could, as we sort of went through getting a description from him and things like that, he could probably describe every single scratch or mark or knock on the gun, because that's the first thing that he saw, and everything else was sort of behind him.
Mr. Staples, where was the man when you lost sight of him exactly, so our dogman can go back?
Disappearing round to the left.
From where? I know he's up on New England Road. Was it somewhere near the car park?
No, he was getting towards New England House.
Yeah, we believe it's up and along New England, but I'll just confirm it.
Thanks. I'm going to go and search up the top.
Just to try and get a little bit more detail about him. If you don't feel up to it, if you want to stop for a few minutes, just say so. We've got lots of time that we can talk about, okay? So just go back to him. We'll start off with his clothing, because that obviously seems to be the things that you can remember. Let's work on the anorak first of all. Now you say it's a hooded thing pulled up round his face with the drawstring tightened up, yeah? What colour blue was it?
Lightish blue.
Sky blue or?
A bit like his trousers.
Like the trousers, so we're talking about a light blue, not quite sky blue, not quite a royal blue, yeah?
They're coming around a little bit more. I think the main thing is just to keep them talking so that they don't go into any form of shock. If we keep them talking, then of course that will make things better, and perhaps they might bring back extra bits and pieces that they remember.
The scenes of crime officer arrives to look for forensic evidence.
He may have touched the door handle on the outside, I'm not sure. Most of them that come in have actually touched the glass as opposed to the side.
So he's knocked on the door, it's been opened.
Yeah. He's come in.
As far as just here.
Waved the gun at him.
Okay, I'll have a look at the frames and see what they've handled. And no actual struggle with the thing, between.
Do you want your doctor to get called out to come round?
Not really.
Would you like us to organise that?
I think it might be as well.
Yeah, what's your doctor's name?
Do you want your doctor?
You might as well call my doctor, wouldn't you? Call my doctor.
Could you organise
But
that?
would he deal with him today?
I'm sure
Because he's not on his
I don't think there'll be a problem there whatsoever. Okay, we'll get that organised for you. You're right, mate. Do you want one of these? They're free of charge. The gold bracelet that was taken is quite unique. It's described as being a gold Albert chain, which is like the old-fashioned watch chain. It's quite thick, close links.
The air's quite damp tonight, so therefore the brush is starting to drag slightly on metal, but the wooden surface isn't bad. It's got quite a grain in it. You can obviously see where fingers have been in the past, but insufficient ridge detail for identification. But we'll carry out the examination just in case there's a possibility he has handled any part of this door.
I don't think there is a dog. I've just checked the rads and there's only Delta Charlie was one and he's on the firearms.
Okay, what further do you want us to do apart from just sort of stay and get reassured and whatever? Till the doctor arrives?
Yeah, wanting them to let the doctor have a look at them, and then depending on what he says, we'll take a statement now or do it tomorrow.
Right.
Obviously, depending on them, I'm worried about him at the moment. Getting him reassured and his son reassured.
Speaking to the little one, I think he's seen most of this through the stairs. He heard the noise at the door and whatever, and was half expecting it to be one of his friends.
Yeah.
So he came down to see who was here, and then he says he looked through and he could see most of all this going on. So, I mean, he says he's definitely seen the gun as well. So. You can't predict when arms are going to be used. Obviously, arms are used more and more, but there are two views. If you wind up having the policeman armed, does that mean then that the criminals are going to be armed all the time? Or if we're unarmed, are we going to be more open to attacks and things like that? Obviously, policemen get injured. I mean, I carry a truncheon, I've not used it in 6 years.
The fleeing gunman was caught on a security camera. Police are still trying to establish his identity.
All the cars are out at the moment, dealing with a possible firearms incident at Dyke Road, near the 7 Dials. So those of you who are PSU trained, don't go anywhere yet, because you may be required. And in any event, I don't think there's any cars back from there yet.
About half an hour ago now, a man was seen just outside this shop here, the International Supermarket, in possession of a gun. It's not clear whether or not it's an imitation or a real one, but obviously in these certain circumstances you don't know what it is. And it's gone, to be believed, to the top flat where this man lives. What I'm hoping to do is when my officers come here with the protective equipment, to go up them stairs and try and make contact, but obviously leaving ourselves an escape route out very quickly should it go horribly wrong.
We can't get to the International Supermarket.
No, probably not. Okay. All right. Then when I get to the scene, I then have to take on the information very quickly as to what has happened, assimilate that and make a decision based on the information. The adrenaline going, feeling under pressure, thinking about what I should be doing in relation to use of firearms.
What happened in the shop then, Bob? Was he?
Yeah, we'll do.
Or was he being unreasonable? Have you had who as a witness? All right, was she there with you? What's your girlfriend's name? Karen? Lovely.
Policemen tend to react very quickly to a situation, and whether it is the training and it is your experiences that say you tend to put other people first. And it's only really after the incident's happened that you suddenly reflect and sort of think to yourself, I was in a very dangerous position then, I could have actually got badly injured.
Have you got any weapons at all up there? Yeah.
I've got a water pistol.
You got a water pistol?
Yeah.
Do you want to throw that down for us? Yeah, serious.
I've spoken to command and we're favouring an early intervention with yourselves to get in there and get him out, all right? Now, The gun is the unknown equation, but there's nothing to suggest there's a real gun there. If there was, you wouldn't go anywhere near the place.
I'm glad you said that.
All right.
Well, throw it down the middle.
Well, it's not quite that easy, right?
Go on, I can see you. Is that it, Bob?
Yeah.
You not come down here, so you can see me here, look. You come down to me here, look, you can see me here.
None of this kit is bulletproof. So
They got stab vests, but again, it's not any sign of a gun, and we're off.
we'd have been coming out of there pretty quick if there's been a gun pointed at us. So.
What name's, do you know me? Did you say you know me or not?
Well, I've seen you last night to the bottom west coast.
Okay, oh yeah, I ain't got that. Well, do you know why we're here today?
It is thought that they will be coming out shortly. Can we hold back on the parachute out of the way?
Yes, I've received you. We're standing by here. Right, if you can just sit in the van then, that's all right.
Bravo to PCS Bridge, PC Williams have gone into the flat.
Yeah. No, I can't. Mark, with Mark. Right, Bob, we'll have to tell you now that you're under arrest. Listen to me, Bob. You're under arrest on suspicion of possession of a Section 1 firearm, all right? You do not have to say anything unless you wish to do so, and what you say maybe give evidence. Well, that means that you've got a pistol or some sort of lethal weapon. All right, so...
What's a water pistol? Lethal weapon?
Water pistol ain't no.
You can just look under it. There, underneath the lid. Yeah.
We're governed by the Police and Criminal Evidence Act in terms of the way we deal with detained people. At regular times throughout a person's detention in the police station, their detention is reviewed, and it's my job really to inspect and ensure that people are being lawfully detained.
The suspect has been in custody for 6 hours. His legal representative is present at the review meeting.
I'm on diazepam, codeine and temazepam, and I'm being denied all of those drugs. And also I've not been given clothing. I've had my clothing taken. I've not been given the right size shoes or clothing.
You asked to speak to the doctor.
Yes, I then got some incompetent woman.
Well, hold on a second. Let me just finish. The doctor has said here he is refusing your request. Refusing your request for medication. You weren't at that time, which was 11:30, fit for interview, but you were fit to detain, and we were to observe you regularly.
I've requested to see her since, and I've still not seen her.
Well, I'll check to see whether or not she's going to come out again.
Well, she better do, because I'm going to be in a fit state to interview.
Yeah.
It's pretty unfair because, you start to go into withdrawals. The first things, withdrawals from those drugs, is you start to feel cold and not even been given sufficient clothing.
Right, you've had your clothing removed for forensic, haven't you?
Yes, and I'm now sitting there wrapped in blankets.
We tried to obtain some alternative.
Got offered a thing, an overall thinner than your shirt. Also,
if you want another blanket, I can get you another blanket. I'm afraid that there's not a lot I can do if we can't get hold of alternative clothing for you. That's what the paper suits are for, and the blankets are there to keep you warm. But if you don't feel up to being interviewed, then we won't interview you.
Well, he seems to be quite coherent at the moment.
Yeah, if you're happy and your client's happy to be interviewed, then I'm more than happy to allow the
Well, we want to quicken
officers.
everything up so that he's away as soon as possible. We don't want to delay anything at all, especially with him not being prescribed any drugs.
Yeah.
We'd like to get it off the...
Yeah, no problem. I mean, you're happy to interview them?
Yes,
that's
I am
fine.
indeed, yes.
Okay, and are you happy to be interviewed?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
okay.
just want to get it over and done with, get out of this place.
No. Air gun pellets. If there's air gun pellets, there's going to be an air gun, I would think.
That's right. Let's try and keep it to the matter in hand, okay? This interview is being tape recorded. It is 23 minutes past 5 on the morning of Wednesday, the 20th of October 1993. We are in an interview room at Brighton Police Station. I'm Detective Constable John McGrath, and the other officer present is...
APS Malcolm Doe.
Can you tell me your full name, please?
Robert.
And what's your date of birth, Robert?
26/11/66.
Okay, also present is your chosen solicitor. I have to remind you also that you do not have to say anything during this interview, but what you do say may be given in evidence. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, Robert. Can you tell me from the start, basically, what happened? I understand you went into the shop with a female friend, is that correct?
My girlfriend.
I will interrupt here, Robert, to say that you have taken advice on the phone from your solicitor, Mr. Trebnett, not to make any comment to any questions put to you. That is just advice,
Yeah.
but that is the advice you've been asked.
These are innocuous questions, aren't they?
Okay, Robert, we'll continue along those lines. Do you care to tell me what exactly happened?
The guy from the shop picked an argument with me and started on me and knocked me to the floor, and my girlfriend became involved.
I've got a witness statement here from the owner of the shop, okay, and this is the chap that you've had the altercation with, and he is basically saying that he's basically saying that the argument started because you felt that there was an allegation made by him that you were shoplifting and that you felt that you were being watched in the shop. Is that right? Is there truth in that?
Well, I mean, when he appeared, I walked out the door, and he came to the door, and I was standing in the doorway.
The other thing he does say is that you mentioned that you were going to shoot him.
With a water pistol?
Well, I don't know. All I can say...
All I was in possession of was a water pistol,
so what
which, when he knocked me to the floor, fell out of my pocket, and is now broken. As you're fully aware, it's you've got it down as evidence. You've got a green water pistol that has a fluorescent pink barrel thing screws into the top.
Well, we've got two people who are prepared to say that they saw this gun and that it's black, it's got a brown handle, it's heavy, it's metallic, and it came out of your pocket.
I don't own such an item.
Sorry?
I don't own such an item. I've not owned anything even resembling that. About 2 years ago, I owned a .22 air rifle. Now, I couldn't fit that into my pocket because it's a bit too big. When they said, will you throw down any armaments you've got, I threw 3 water pistols down the stairs.
But as I said to you before, the gun we're talking about is a gun, not a water pistol.
I haven't got a gun.
Robert was released later that morning. No gun was ever found and no firearms charge ever brought. 3 weeks later, in an unconnected incident, Robert died.